Are there any other ways we can introduce carbon into our regimen?
Yeah, I'll throw out one other option,
Sure.
just because I love saying it, and that's Hugelkultur. A lot of these bigger techniques or bigger ideas can be really interesting when you dig into them. And this one in particular is not for indoor gardeners. I don't recommend putting logs in your containers. But what Hugelkultur does is when you go out in a forest, you're gonna see dead and dying trees, and eventually they get covered over and they're still in the soil as almost like this big trunk. And so what happens to that wood, in the case of a garden, what you wanna do is you wanna actually bury as big a pieces of wood as you can underneath your grow.
This sounds like you're looking to replicate nature to
Sure,
a certain degree.
for sure. And anytime you're adding carbon to the soil, you're really looking at that existing sort of relationship between plants and organic matter that's existed for at least 500 million years.
Dead tree falls over in the woods.
Yeah.
There's branches of various sizes. There's trunks. There's logs.
Sure.
This gets in.
Yeah.
And so you look to recreate this.
Absolutely. And with Hugelkultur, you actually take as big a piece of wood as you can.
Okay.
You're going to bury it under your crop. Now what happens, yeah, so this is, that kind of is up to the area and how deep your soil is.
Okay.
For instance, for me, I actually will lay wood and then I build on top of it. So I'm actually making raised beds on top of the logs. And what these logs do is really interesting. One is you're going to get a whole bunch of fungal development that's really going to interweave with that wood under the ground. So the fungus is going to love you. And when fungus love you, your plants love you.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen in the end is you're going to end up with this fully rotted piece of wood underground, and then it just acts like this huge sponge. So if you're in a really arid environment or if you have really rocky soil, this is a technique that can help you where you might only have to water once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on how well it actually builds under that soil that you're growing in.